All right, guys, are you overwhelmed when you're choosing your brand name? There's just so many options. Well, guess what? We're going to help you. We got the solution in this video. So here's the big question. How important is the name of your brand? Well, it's actually pretty important, but it's more so important in the way of just don't mess it up. You don't need to crush this and hit a home run, have the best brand name in the world, because you'll build brand recognition and what your brand means over time. But if you have, you could really mess it up and it's almost irrecoverable. So we'll tell you just some general ideas and techniques so that you can make your brand name faster and get going and avoid some pitfalls. And then we got an example of good and bad brands where you'll see people that really blew it and it's kind of unrecoverable. So when you're going about choosing your brand name, one thing to take into account first before you get into it is, who are your customers? What needs are you actually going to be solving? And that's going to determine the path that you're going to take with your brand name. For example, if it's something that is fun or funny, or it could be, then you're going to want to choose a more lighthearted brand name or, nostalgic or something else like that. Whereas if it's, if it's a scientific device or safety or whatnot, you're going to go with a very different approach when choosing this. So you gotta, I can't even possibly describe it because there's so many array of things. So we're just gonna go with some general examples of good and bad and just things to think about to help you guys choosing your brand name. So here is a list. If you guys want to pause and read this, you can. And if you don't, you could just continue listening to my beautiful voice. Okay, so when we're just looking at these, basically what we need to do is make sure that it's not already trademarked, okay? And that it is trademarkable. So if you want to know more about that, we have other videos on trademarks and choosing yours. So that is definitely important because that's where the one of the mess up things that I was saying. If you use somebody else's term that's already trademarked, you're going to get sued and you're going to run into issues. So another thing to look out for is don't make it really long or really sophisticated. Like if people look at it and they can't speak it, or just like, how do you say that? It's not memorable. That's not good. So make sure that people can pronounce it. It's not 18 words long and that it's not already trademarked. So that's going to get you a good way there. Another thing that you want to do is go look up whatever the brand name you're choosing is going to be on Google and see if there's anybody with extremely, like a lot of money that's already ranking for that term or something very similar. So if we're on Google right here, for example, you would probably not want to name your company Gingerbread Man Enterprises or something like that, or naming your brand, just you probably wouldn't want to put Gingerbread Man in it unless you had some very odd other name with it, because I mean, good luck ranking on Google for Gingerbread Man without some serious money behind it. You're also going to want to make sure that you don't choose something that is similar to somebody else in your competitor. So let's say with shoes, okay, there's Nike. You probably wouldn't want to name yourself Mikey. All right, bad idea. Well, technically you could do this, but they can sue you for trademark infringement for trying to impersonate them or confuse people that your brand is theirs or similar. So just don't choose anything very similar to your competitors in your space unless you want to get sued, and then go for Mikey. Yeah, good luck. So that's the list of do not do. So here's some just general ideas to get your brainstorming going. If you take a look here, you can have different types of naming techniques. You get after the names, the founders. You go descriptive, or just make something up completely. Like if you think of Google, well, it was technically a number, but pretty much had no meaning before it. Same with Spotify. And there's definitely, just some different ways to go about it. Now, for example, in the past, what I've done is for the solar eclipse, it was an event. So I chose something that would help be more descriptive and associative with the solar eclipse so that people automatically knew, okay, this is a science company and they specialize in this. So that was the approach that I took with that brand so that people could know instantly when they see the brand, oh, okay, this matches the product. But it depends on what market you're going into and what those customer needs are and what your long-term roadmap is going to go for. So some other aspects just to include in your brand, make sure that it's future proof, because you don't want to name it, Steve-O's fidget spinners if you're going to do more than just fidget spinners. So don't be too limiting with that brand name, and then you can take it wherever you want in the future. But if you go narrow, you're kind of stuck. So if you're one of those people and you want to get really in depth, I'm going to link an article down below here where it goes extremely in depth on how you could scientifically craft something to match your perfect brand name. So they have all these different ways of naming techniques here, and then essentially you can like choose all these emotional things that you want. And then if we go to that blog post, it even deeper down here gets into all these ways to use vowels and characters, and to match male and female, and all these sophisticated, and this is probably not necessary, but if you're extremely care about it, I guess, yeah, check out this. It's probably the best thing I found on the internet. So the main takeaway from this is going to be, guys, just don't get too stuck up on your brand name. You can create meaning and create connection and out of it. Just don't mess it up. And so if you want to see some examples of how you can mess it up, look at the video of good and bad examples, where we will show some poor branding choices.